Hey, now I have been asked by a couple of you how to deal with waking up in the middle of the night and feeling angry or upset. Now, I know it's a difficult one because in the middle of the night, when you wake up, you haven't got friends and family to call, or maybe you have, but sometimes, after a while, they don't want to take your calls at 2 o'clock in the morning. And unless you've got friends in America or Australia on a different time zone, then you can feel very isolated. And so this question is so super normal. So I just wanted to let you know that it is a normal question. And something that I know a lot of people struggle with, and I did as well when I was going through my breakup, so I know how difficult it can be. So what are my top tips for you? Well, I have quite a few. So the first one will be if you wake up in the night, and you know what it's like when some people think, well, I'm coping okay, why is it at night that I wake up and my mind is whirring and I can't get back to sleep? Well, quite often, if you are a strong person and you do cope well with things, that your brain, when it shuts down, will subconsciously go through and deal with those things. So that's why some of you may experience nightmares, where you go into a nightmare which is quite intense and it wakes you up. And then I don't know if you've ever had this, but then you try to go back to sleep again, you go straight back into that same nightmare that you're trying to get away from. And this can happen for quite a few hours, so it's not something that goes away instantly. Whereas other times you wake up from a nightmare and you can turn over and go back to sleep. But sometimes you can't. And this is what we're talking about, those times where you're really struggling, as well as times where, that you're just lying awake for hours and your brain is just whirring and you can't get that out of your head. So how do you manage that? Well, first of all, please know that it's normal, and this is something that a lot of people experience, especially after a breakup or when you've got a lot of stress, or if there's conflict and there's things going on that you're worried about, that you're replaying over and over in your head. So don't worry, these things are quite normal. So how do we deal with them? Well, first of all, you can try very simple techniques that I use, like a natural lavender spray on the pillow. Not only does it smell super nice, but it's very relaxing and it helps you go into a calm sleep. So try that. Also, if you wake up and your brain is whirring, then either try some breathing exercise where you in through your nose and then out through your mouth. And just do that over and over again in a relaxed way. So not sort of hyperventilating, but just to slow your breathing down and just feel more and more relaxed. Now that can help. Now that doesn't always work for me, I have to say, but I know some clients, they love that and it does really work for them. For me, what works is I like to get up, because there's no point lying there with those things going on around and around in your head. So getting up and walking around. Now, I might just go to the bathroom and come back, might be enough, but sometimes it's not. And sometimes you need to distract your brain. So we need to take control of it. If it's stuck in a loop and going round and round and round, it's like when your computer freezes, and you can't get it to do anything and you get that sort of whirring sign. Well, if you've got that going on in your head, then you need to stop and completely reboot. So you need to really change your physiology. So get up, walk around. You need to do something very different. So refocus your brain on thinking about something completely different. Now, I would suggest, doing something like reading a book and forcing yourself into thinking about something else. Or maybe even watching the television, but not something like a thriller or something that's high anxiety, because that's just going to recreate those stressful emotions just about something else. So we need to go for something that's calming or completely different. Maybe watch an episode of Friends. That's something that works well for me, because it always makes me laugh. You can't not laugh. Well, I can't during Friends, and I've got a lot of my friends that love it too. So try that. That does work. Clients like that. Or something that works for you. It could be something that's just very mellow, or maybe mind-numbingly dull, so something that just takes your mind off it and just calms it down, almost stops it, so something like that. That does work. Also, before you go to bed, if you are feeling stressed, try and, if you've got time, I know if you've got kids, maybe you don't, but to have a bath or even just a hot shower, just to relax you. If your mind is whirring, then there's no point going to bed. Try and get to a point where you are feeling tired before you get into bed, because that's going to minimize the amount of time that you're sitting there worrying about things and your brain is whirring. So to help you get to that state, obviously, please don't eat sugar towards the end of the day, because that's going to keep your mind whirring. Caffeine will keep your mind whirring. Maybe some sort of herbal teas, chamomile tea, that might relax you. Get some exercise in during the day, because that will then mean your body's tired when it comes to bed and it needs to sleep. So And I know some of you do feel tired when you wake up, and it's not the tiredness that keeps you awake, and I totally get that. It's about dialing down those negative emotions. And if you do have that anger, that intense anger that some of my clients talk about at night, where they wake up and they're really fuming and really angry, then a great antidote to anger is pity. Because if you think about it this way, people that have upset you, people that are being unkind or mean to you, then that, if you're angry at someone for doing something, then you know, if someone's done something to hurt you or something's upset you, then those people aren't in a good place. You've got to remember that kind people don't do, kind and happy people don't do unkind things. And people have to be in a pretty bad place if they're trying to upset you or cause you problems. So just remember that, and feeling sorry for them, pity, is a great antidote to anger, and it'll dial down that intensity. And even think about it, you know, I always talk about giving my clients a dial to dial down those negative emotions that are controlling them. And even if you can just dial down from a 10 to an 8, that might mean that you can sleep, or it might mean that you can function a bit better the next day, or parent, or the things you need to do. So don't look for like huge changes. You know, sometimes if you're going through things, these are natural body responses to what you're going through. What we're talking about is giving you tools just so you can cope a bit better by dialing it down so it's manageable and you can get the things done that you need to do. So I hope this has helped. Big hugs, and speak soon.